All right, hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Otis Frampton Live. I'm sorry I've been away for a while. Had a deadline crunch and just, had to cut something out of the schedule, so the live stream had to go. But I'm back, and hopefully I'll be doing regular shows. I've got the chat for Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble up, and I'll be watching it. So if you want to chat with me while I work, please feel free. Just making sure everything looks good here. Yeah, it looks good. Excellent. So I'm just going to jump in right here and start working. For the foreseeable future, I'll just be working on pages of Patchwork Girl of Oz. As you know, clock's running, so just got to get things going. One of the great things about sort of being under the gun, schedule-wise, on a comic series, and really sort of being in the thick of things, is it forces you to work fast, and it forces you to sort of figure things out fast, and it also teaches you, as a cartoonist, I'm always sort of trying to learn the shapes, the basic shapes of my characters. And when you're working a lot, and working fast, that tends to happen, and the process becomes a little smoother. I tend to do less exploring in the layouts and pencils phase and jumping right into inking. Sometimes I'll ink just with an inking brush, that instead of like a more pencil-like brush. Just because I'm starting to really know the shapes. And it's fun starting to know the shapes of your characters, so you can be a little more free when you're drawing them. Oh, that's not right. Let's... How's everyone doing today? I just sent out. I'm trying to catch up on stuff that I kind of neglected while I was so busy with the deadline crunch for one of the issues. I sent out a new newsletter, so if you're a subscriber, it should be in your inbox, and if you're not, please check out my newsletter, my Substack newsletter. It's called Escape with Otis Frampton. And the newest issue just hit inboxes. Made a couple of announcements in it, so it should be a good one. And also put out the call for some help with something. Whoops. won't say any more than that, but ask for some help with something. I don't like that. Let's fix that. There. That's better. Another thing you get used to is, like, if there's patterns in your character, you start to figure out how to do those a little better. The Patchwork Girl has been a very challenging character to really get down, because she's got so many details and elements to her, especially the patches, obviously. But I think I've got that down. I think I figured out how to do that pattern on her. Got it so much figured out that originally my wife does my flatting for my comics and illustrations, and I told her I'm not going to make you flat the Patchwork Girl because it's too complex, and it's a pain. But I needed help, and she decided to jump in and learn how to do it, and it's worked out pretty well. All right, now a second pass. Let's see, got a question from Arts Collection 556. What brush is it? This is actually it's a brush. Let's see, what's it called? It's called the Stayf Walt Kelly Ink Brush, Stayf. It's an artist named Stayf who does a bunch of Procreate tutorial videos, and he makes custom brushes. And this is one that he made based on Walt Kelly's inking style for Pogo. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. I started using it. I think I modified it just slightly to suit my own needs. But and mostly, I think you can kind of see it. If you zoom in really close, there's a little bit of grit to it. And I might have changed the tapering to give it a little bit more fine taper on the end. Make it feel a little bit more like the brush pens that I like. Now, if you notice, there's no patches on the Patchwork Girl yet. I do that last. I ink everything on her and then do the patches so that I can work around things like ruffles and stuff. Tosh Doodle, love that brush. Yeah, it's a good brush. I really like it. It's very close to another brush that I used for a while that I still use. I still use that brush as an eraser a lot of the times when I'm inking, because it has a little bit of grit also, and is very controllable in the same way that the Stayf brush is. But the Stayf brush just has a little bit extra sort of natural feel to it. turn this off. Considering having him break the panel here with his hand. This sequence of him getting angry at the two and them turning like, what? But I'm not sure yet. I think I'll probably do it, but I'm going to ink around that for now. Also, obviously, I've done some inking on this page already. Yeah, it's a nice brush. Arts Collector 556. And like I said, it's free. You can download it off of Stafe's, I think it's Stafe Draws, Stayf Draws on Gumroad. He also, like I said, does videos, YouTube videos, and it's mainly focused on Procreate, I think. I'm not really much on fancy brushes. I tend to stick to a few. Every once in a while I'll break out, and I've made some custom brushes, but not really the kind that like are worth, you know, distributing or selling. It's mainly for my own purposes. Like I created this. There's a lot of you know, walking along brick roads in Oz comic, and so I created a. I can show you here actually. Created like a brick template here that I can take. Hold on, let me do this. A brick template, sort of based on the way that I draw bricks, and then I can, if I'm really in a pinch, I can, you know, take this, distort it, move it like this, give it some perspective, and then what I'll do is I won't use that exactly, but I'll ink over it, you know, whoops. I'll use that as like the oh, come on, there we go. Like I'll ink over it like this. You know, it's a quick way of, you know, laying down something that's in my style. It's cheating without cheating. That's the way I think of it. Yeah, actually, the other brush is it's the one I'm actually using right now for erasing. You can kind of see a little grit in there, but not too much. It's got some grain on it. Otherwise, so, but that's the brush I use to sort of erase away stuff on my main inking brush, because it still has a little grit and will maintain a little bit of what I'm going. You can't see the grit obviously when it's printed. It's really just for me, so it feels a little less, you know, a little less clean. Tosh Doodle asks, how long does an issue of Patchwork take to complete beginning? You know, I don't know. Ideally, because I've been bouncing back and forth between issues. Some of it was already done. Blah blah blah. You know, I have a system of what I need to get done each day, and sometimes I have to, you know, move things around on the calendar. Making a comic, especially one for Image, where you're I'm not just the artist and writer. I'm the project manager. I'm the colorist, the letterer. I tend to break down my days in terms of processes. And a process is either penciling, inking, or coloring a page. I don't factor in the writing or the lettering, because when I adapt directly from the novel onto the page. I've broken up I've broken up the novel into chunks that I know I want to be part of each issue. Otherwise, I'm really kind of writing on the page, and that's how I work now with all my comics. Well, both my comics, Oddly Normal and now Patchwork Girl. I've gotten to the point where I kind of write on the page and work things out visually. And when I'm laying out comics, I'm also doing the start of lettering, because of the lettering I want to be part of the imagery and not just an afterthought. So, it probably takes like a month and a half total. I mean, if I was just doing straight through each issue, month and a half maybe. And also, I brought on a colorist to work with me, Tracy Bailey. She's worked with me on Oddly before, and she's handling a big chunk of the coloring duties, starting with issue 3. It's kind of a collaboration now, because I'm serving as art director, so I'm sort of maintain the look, and like sometimes I'll color something to set down the look of an environment or something like that, to get it where I want it to. All right, what am I doing? I think I want to change this. But yeah, two processes a day on a good day. On a bad day, when I'm behind, more. But yeah. So that's pretty much how I do things. And like I said, working on comics in my experience, has not been like the most linear thing in the world. Especially, for image books. I don't think a lot of people know this, but you're the creators are in charge of creating everything that goes into that book, including, ads, back matter, all the graphic design, everything. With Patchwork Girl, I send the files and they put them together for print. So it's a lot of work. And you're always working in advance, so you've got to have covers done in advance. Which is, a task in itself, because you got to project forward and say, okay, well, this issue is going to be about this, and what would make a good image for that, because I've got to send that to the solicitation people so they can solicit the book months in advance. I gotta fix this. It doesn't look right. So people have asked me many times, how do you pitch the image? And I'm like, well, are you a good project manager? That's the first question you should ask before you do that. I've got experience from my work outside of comics, with management in the civilian and military life, so I think that really helps me. Also, I'm a self-starter. I don't need to be told to get something done. It just has to get done, so I do it. But if you're distracted by things like TV, movies, video games, you probably don't want to have an image comic. Unless you're so good that you can just whip out the work and it can be perfect. I can't do that. Okay. Whew. I know it didn't answer your question, Tosh Doodle, but that's the answer that I had. Like, I'm currently working on finishing up the covers for issues 6 and 7. I've had the covers for issues 1 through 5 done for a while. I also like doing that. When I'm working on a project, I tend to create the cover for whatever it is. Like for the novel series that I have coming out later this year, I've had I've had the covers for those done for a while, at least the first couple of books in each one. And it's a way of, like, sort of, it's a psychological thing for me where I can look at that and go, look, it already exists. I just need to finish making it. I think that's a good trick to help you have something to aim for. You know, it's like the finish line. And if it feels like it already exists, then you just need to go through the processes to make it happen. So I recommend doing that. And you can always change the cover. You know, you don't have to stick with whatever you created, you know, originally, because things change. But to have that as a guidepost and a finish line in the marathon can be very effective. I also think the answer to the question of how long does something take, it's a very personal thing. You know, it really depends on your working methods and your experience, and it can vary so much from person to person that asking somebody, you know, how long their process takes is ultimately not very illuminating, in my opinion, because their experiences are going to be wildly different from yours as a creator. It can be helpful, but, you know, in certain respects, like, you know, so you know, well, if their metric is this and my metric is much less than this, maybe I need to up my game. That can be useful, I guess. First, her hair is basically big, giant, thick strands of yarn. In the original novel, John R. Neal drew them kind of wispy, and a lot of artists have done that since. But I wanted her hair to be expressive and be, you know, sort of wild and be kind of like her. You know, she's a wild child, so I drew them as, you know, really thick strands of yarn, almost like dreadlocks, so that I could have them flipping and flopping. And look kind of like crazy. So I've already had one Oz fan comment and saying that it looks terrible because her hair was so distinctive in the book, and I'm like, yep, but this is my version, and I gotta make it work for me. It's an adaptation, not a one-to-one sort of realization. But it's a lot of fun. It's that, along with the numerous patches she has all across her body have made this character fun and also a pain to draw. But it helps give her a character and helps her feel a little less regimented in terms of how she looks. I don't worry as much about how much she's on model compared to other characters like the Glass Cat or Ojo, because just by her nature it feels like you can do different things with the character. And in the story, her brains are composed of many different qualities, thanks to Ojo. So she's making her seem sort of, like a crazed wild child with her hair as on theme. Alright, on to the next. Excuse me. Well, there's something I wanted to share, like a tip for comic creators. I'm sure a lot of you have heard the, when you're designing characters, be conscious of their silhouette. Make sure that if they're in silhouette, you can tell which character they are immediately. Well, I came across a situation, in my storytelling on a recent page where I had to show just the tops of characters' heads, and luckily I had designed them in a way that there was no question about whose heads they were, even though you saw just the very tops of their heads. I felt pretty good about that. That even that there was no question about who I was showing, and it was two different characters. So I thought, yeah, that's a good tip. Make sure that every element of each character is so identifiable with that character that the reader will never question who you're drawing at any given time. Just think of it as an addition to the silhouette rule. I can't imagine designing characters that look similar, though. I think that's one reason why I've never had an interest in things like Voltron. It's like they look so similar, you know. Just I don't care about. There's no individuality. I don't mean to dump on it, but that's personal preference. I like my characters to really stand out and look unique, so that there's just no question about who you're drawing. When I was younger, I had a real problem drawing hair. I don't know why, but it always seemed frustrating to me. And then I decided, as I progressed as an artist, I decided that I wanted my characters to look kind of like I treat my comics like they're 2D comic book versions of existing animated movies. You know, so I tended to think of them like almost like Pixar characters, where their hair was sculpted and it was physical in some way that was unique, and not just sort of, oh look, there's hair and it's falling here. You know, that's why you get hair like this. I wanted it to be, I chose a very specific shape. I wanted it to feel like he's just like manic all the time. So I tend to incorporate, character into the character design in like story specific ways like that. Too soft. Whoa, what did I just do? Hey, well, I've got you all here. I should probably say that issue 2 of Patchwork Girl of Oz comes out tomorrow. You can get a copy at your local comic shop, anywhere that Image Comics is sold, which is pretty much everywhere. Or you can get it, if you prefer reading comics digitally, you can get it wherever digital comics are sold, more specifically Comixology. So please, please, please check out Patchwork Girl of Oz issue 2. And if you're so inclined, please leave a review on Amazon. That would really help me. There's already a couple of reviews on issue 1, positive reviews. I haven't read them, but they're 5 stars, so I can only assume that means they're positive reviews. Guess you're wondering why this guy's posture is so weird. He's Dr. Pipt, the Crooked Magician, and he's been stirring the pot of stirring 4 pots for 6 years. So when he finally stops stirring those pots and stands up, I assume he's sort of like, he's got a little joint problems. He's cramped up a bit. Actually, change this. I screwed this up. Let me fix this. Okay, let's just... You can probably see that I don't have the backgrounds fully penciled out, but I get to that point. I call the pencils done because the backgrounds are going to be, the level of details of the background is going to be dependent on the characters in the foreground. So I don't want to do too much, and I don't want to waste time solidifying the background when it might change based on how I finish up the characters. So if you're wondering why she has no pupil, that's a spoiler. I won't ruin that here. I'm just gonna keep drawing. Of course, if you've read the original L. Frank Baum novel, you know. Come on. Let's get that better this way. This is my first time inking this character in her new form. So it's weird not spotting in the blacks of her hair. Trying to figure out where the curls go. Just this is what her hair looks like when the blacks are spotted in. Lots of black, but now that she's all different, that's all I'll say. Gotta draw things different. Oh, come on. Every once in a while this brush gets fidgety and does weird stuff. There we go. I'm gonna get rid of, whoops. There. That works. Cooperate with me. There we go. Probably thinking, God, you jump around a lot. Yep, I sure do. I tend to go where the feeling takes me. Oops, let's do that proper. There we go. Sorry for being so quiet, but you know, if you guys aren't chatting with me, I just tend to get in kind of a groove. It's kind of like a trance. Every once in a while, you know, when I'm reviewing something or, you know, going back to look at something, see my live stream video, and it'll be like watching somebody else. It's really crazy that you can watch yourself doing something and have no memory of doing it and almost be like, you know, mesmerized by what's happening. I don't know if anybody else has had that experience, but it is so weird. People have told me that watching me work is sort of soothing, and I get that, because when I watch myself do it, it's like, how's he doing that? That's funny. Let's see. I'm gonna move down and make this guy. I need to pencil in a little bit more. These guys, but making progress. Whoops. Oh, come on. I need to clean my smudge guard glove. Sometimes if it gets used too much, it starts to behave or make the iPad screen behave in weird ways. Just need to clean it. Gonna be wrapping up here in a few minutes. Only having about an hour a day for live streaming when I can stream, so gotta get going. So if you have any questions or comments or whatever, please feel free to ask in the next couple minutes. Doing. get Patchwork Girl's head inked before I gotta get going. Okay, that's about it for today. Got some good work done on this page. I'll probably finish up this page a little bit later. Get it off to my flatter. Get things working. Hello, Elisa Hoffman from Argentina. How are you doing today? Sorry for taking off right when you get here. I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central. More work on Patchwork Girl of Oz pages. In the meantime, please check out my newsletter. I sent out a new newsletter update today. It's my Substack newsletter. It's called Escape. And then like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff on X, Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook, the 5 places that I stream to. I'll see you later.